If you're earning 10 rupees, you can manage in 9 rupees also. That 10% that you save can turn your life around. You may be respected in the society. You may be earning very well. You may be having the luxuries of life, but then you are not living the right life. It hits you. My number was around 2.5 CR in 2015. It's grown by around 3.5 times in last 10 years.
How has your retired life been?
If you're not clear on what you're going to do after quitting your job, then you better don't quit your job. I was very clear. Kalpvriksh is the name of our NGO. As of now, we've planted around 6,000 trees all across India. From my corporate life, I took financial freedom at the age of 42. Right now, I'm almost 52. So, almost 10 years since I've been financially free, trying to enjoy the beauty of life. We have around 1.2 lakhs worth of expense roughly on an average per month. I mean, that's only me and my wife now because children are all in colleges and their funds are already allocated.
Right.
So, this comes from a combination of FD interest monthly, SWPs from equity funds. SWPs from debt funds. I do not usually withdraw from direct stock investing. I keep it as a long term investment. But these three are enough to fund us more than 1.2 lakhs a month. In fact, the corpus keeps growing. So at 2.6 crore when I finished Freedom, till today the corpus is around 8.5 crores now, which is like $1 million roughly. It's grown by around 3.5 times in last 10 years. Thanks to the market as well. But in general, I think if you are disciplined, this journey, I believe, and I keep telling everyone, is not a complex journey. You can beat a person who is very smart investor, but just being disciplined.
If you could maybe give a timeline of what the jobs were like and how long you stayed there and what were the salary progressions in those jobs.
So I started off in 1994 with L&T, and that was around 5,100 is what I earned there. Then I slowly moved to L&T Vadodara and then L&T Delhi. In between, there was a significant progression and improvement in my salary. So it went up to 35K. That's when I decided to move to IT industry, 1999, 2000. During this e-commerce boom. At that point, I took a salary dip actually because I wanted to move industries. That came down to around 22K roughly. But from there, I moved to other smaller IT companies and then to TCS and then to IBM. By the time I was, leaving TCS, my salary was around 1 lakh rupees a month. By the time I left IBM after 10 years, it was around 2.5 to 3 lakhs take home in India, and I got a chance to go to US. Then, of course, the salary was in dollars. So, if you convert into today's rupees, it would be like 7 to 8 lakhs a month. But that time, the currency value was like $45, 45 rupees a dollar. So, it must be around 4.5 lakhs that time. I worked for one more year after coming back in IBM.
Right.
Then I took Freedom.
Lovely. What was your last drawn salary which you sort of ended at?
Yeah, IBM I was drawing in India around 3.5 lakhs.
So, sir, I mean, considering the range of incomes in India especially is very wide, right? I mean, if you look at income tax numbers, probably more than 80% of the population is 10 lakhs per annum and below. Does that make it impossible for someone to achieve financial freedom, or can someone make the best from those numbers as well and plan something?
Low income definitely reduces your potential, but if you are earning money, you can always save something. If you're earning 10 rupees, you can manage in 9 rupees also. If you're managing in 10, today you can manage in 9 also. That 10% that you save can turn your life around if you do it consistently over the years. Maybe you have to, instead of 10 years, it may take you 20 years. Maybe your expenses are also low. Since your expenses are low, you don't need that much corpus to be financially free. So it's not impossible to achieve freedom. If your desires are in control, in line with your income, you can any day achieve financial freedom.
So, at what age did this thought of financial independence sort of first come up?
My actual savings started pretty late in life. So I think at the age of 37. So I believe that there has to be a two-way mechanism if you have to really pursue something as powerful as financial freedom. One is a push and one is a pull. I loved greenery and I loved my children and I wanted to spend a lot of time with them. Job is good, salary is good, but it's not giving me the time I really need to spend with them. And they're growing fast. So that was a pull. Push is the stress in the corporate job, which I was facing. Now, again, stress can be different to different people and people handle it differently, but I wasn't really handling it well.
Right.
Extended working hours, stress, weekends working, all that stuff. So that push and this pull towards things I love, both of them when they work in harmony with each other, that's when, it's suddenly you realize that you may be respected in the society, you may be earning very well, you may be having the luxuries of life, but then you are not living the right life. It hits you.
To start the journey of financial independence, what were the steps you took?
So the first thing you got to do is jot down what you have already with you. Forget about freedom. Just jot it down. These are the assets I have. These are mutual funds. These are stocks. These are FDs, bonds. There are so many people who don't even know what assets do they have, what liability, total liability do they carry. They have no idea. So basically, where are you right now financially? You need to know that. So the second thing you need to know is at what speed you're going to go. So you need to know how much you can potentially save. The more you can save, the faster you can go in the journey.
Right.
So to know how much you can save, you need to know your income, you need to know your expenses. Everybody says that I know my income, I know my expenses. The fact of the matter is when you start jotting down your expenses are usually 30 to 40% higher than what you think.
Right.
Third thing you need to do is jot down your future. Okay, I got to get my kids married in this year, so I got to budget for that. So these three together can help you come up with a amount that's enough for you. Of course, you got to take care of inflation, you got to take care of the returns that you're getting. But these are the basics. What's your cash flow? What's your net worth? What are your future budgets you want to keep?
Right.
These are the three basics, foundation of planning your journey. So my number was around 2.5 CR in 2015. Today, if you say for a middle class family with two kids, 5 to 6 CR is enough in a tier 1 city.
But how do you know that would be enough, right? And how do you build up for that time value of money once that corpus is reached after you've achieved it?
Yeah, I mean 2.5 today seems less, of course, but I think at that point I felt it was enough for me. If 2.6 feels small to you, calculations may prove it right. 3 may also feel small to you. 5 may also feel, because you will never have that courage unless you're driven. As it comes back to why are you doing it,
Right.
basically. I was doing it because I didn't want to lose that time with my kids, and if I wait for 3 more years, the time is gone. 2 years, if I'm not able to manage, worst case, I'll get back into a job. What is
Right.
there, right? I mean, my skills are not lost, right?
Correct.
So I decided to quit. I think the biggest challenge I had was convincing my wife. Her concern was more from the children's perspective.
Right.
That if they really need a lot of money, more than what we have planned for, then how will we manage all that? And it took me around 6 months to keep telling her and keep showing her the calculations every week almost. See, this is what we planned our expenses. This is what we are. Okay, this month we have exceeded, next month. So slowly she started realizing that things are going the way they were going earlier.
Right.
It's not much different. That's in terms of the money that's flowing in. The difference was that I was at home. And that's that's a big difference. Earlier, I used to be hardly available at home, so that was a big challenge because I think somewhere she was missing her freedom also. But after that 6 months period, I would say the last 9.5 years have been probably the best years of our life.
Any second thoughts on
Going
quitting
back?
quitting a high-paying job, going back?
I wrote a book called as a father's diary, in which I have interactions with my children, whatever interactions during the school days.
Right.
I have kind of documented that. And one of the things I always tell them, and I always believe in my life, is you can take a little bit of time in taking a decision, whatever time you want, but too much delay in taking a decision or changing your decisions is more harmful than going with your current decision, always. Because no decision is right or wrong. You don't know how is it going to end up. So once I had quit, I was not even thinking about. I was thinking about how to make it succeed, how to convince everyone, how to make sure my investments keep doing well. So I was not even thinking about anything else. That option is gone in from my life, unless there's an emergency situation or something like that
Right.
that I had to work. That option is not there. I mean, now that I'm enjoying it so much, there's no point. I mean, I can't even go back now, even if I want. It's going to be very tough for me to do a job today.
So when you were, on this journey in the US, so you started your savings journey as such at 37, right? What markets were you sort of investing in, and what kind of products were you investing in? Was it in the US market? Was it in the Indian market? What kind of securities?
So no, I was primarily investing in the Indian market. Of course, there were fixed deposits and other investments, also bonds and other investments,
Right.
along with equity investments. but primarily in Indian markets. So it was Indian stock markets and Indian mutual funds I was investing in. And the major reason I was doing it because we were kind of clear that we have to go back to India. That's point number one. And second, we could also see the growth is happening more in India. So
Right.
we would more likely to get better returns in India.
So let's get to the financial part of it, right? Standard question, portfolio allocation.
Starting from 100% FDs to today, if you ask me, or by the time I became financially free, it was almost 45 to 50% in the equity, inclusive of both direct stocks and mutual funds.
Right.
And the remaining 50% was divided among commodities, FDs, bonds, these securities basically, and debt funds.
And what kind of debt instruments do you invest into currently?
Typically, usually invest in debt funds, debt
Hmm.
mutual funds. Nowadays is the best time to invest in debt mutual funds since the interest rates have already peaked out and likely to come down. So I'm fully invested into them. Plus, certain bonds I invest, like RBI bonds, which are very safe and give you fixed returns. My view is that if your portfolio is not liquid, because just keep chasing returns, you will actually end up with lesser returns than a portfolio with moderate returns but high liquidity.
Right.
Whenever a black swan event happens, and they keep happening every
Hmm.
few years, you need liquidity in your portfolio to
Correct.
move. So that movement, a lot of people are not able to do when the actual event occurs, and it always occurs in an unexpected fashion.
I think that forms part of the answer to my next question. Like,
Mhm.
how important do you think a debt allocation in anyone's portfolio
Oh, very
is?
much. So, as I said, half of the people I coach, they are fully into real estate. I mean, if they have money, they'll just put in real
Right.
estate. When you tell them to bring liquidity by coming out of real estate and investing in better instruments, they would have a simple point that, I mean, real estate is giving them passive income. Let's say you have a debt fund corpus of 2 crores,
Right.
okay, today. So what you do is you typically it's growing at the rate of 8% or 9%. You don't withdraw the entire 8%,
Hmm.
9%. So every month you set up an SWP, you withdraw half of it
Hmm.
and let it grow for the remaining half. So you withdraw, let's say 4.5% of it. So 4% of 2 crores would come out to be around roughly 8 to 10 lakhs a year. Easily you can make 70 to 80,000
Hmm.
rupees a month, regularly coming it as a passive income to you. So we have to come out of that mindset. It's only real estate and the rentals that are passive income. This is also passive income.
Correct.
Same SWP may not be this big amount. You can set up a smaller depending on how much money
Hmm.
you need. You set up a 50,000 rupees a month from equity also. So you have got 1.3, 1.4 lakhs a month and your equity is growing at 12%. So out of that, you've taken out 4%
Hmm.
every month. So it's still growing at 8%. Debt is still growing at 4%. Your corpus keeps growing while you're funding your regular monthly
Right.
expenses easily.
How has your retired life been? Let's come to let's get some
That's the most
information on
beautiful
that.
question you've asked. Since
No, because usually bunch of interviews we've done and everyone has sort of brought out this unique point, not unique point, rather a clear uniform point. You need to know what to do with that time. Otherwise, it's
yes.
not really a boon; it's a bane.
Yes, I think you touched a very important point that if you're not clear
Hmm.
on what you're going to do after quitting your job, then you better don't quit your job. It's so important because generally mind is very sharp. So it's currently busy in your jobs,
Right.
whatever you're doing. If you just suddenly take it out of it and you don't employ it somewhere
Hmm.
else, it's going to create more problems for you.
Right.
So it's very important that you know what you're going to do after you quit. Otherwise, don't quit. Continue working even if you're financially free. And I was very clear on what I am going to do. I have to spend time with my children. And I was very clear I'm going to work with nature. I'm going to plant a lot of trees. Pollution is a big issue in Delhi, and
Right.
that is one motivation I had. I'm going to plant a lot of trees. I mean, I first planted myself. I
Hmm.
myself went to parks and started planting trees, but then I realized there's a limit to how many I can plant and nurture. Right. So then I set up a proper organization. So Kalpvriksh is the name of our
Hmm.
NGO where we plant these trees. Uh, we have planted around, as of now, we have planted around 6,000 trees all across India. Some of them are in Delhi, of course. Many of them are in Mumbai and adjoining areas in South India as well. And then I write books. So I've written 6 books. The
Oh,
seventh one
lovely.
is in pipeline. I'm enjoying that.
Fantastic. And finally, any piece of advice you have to give to anyone who's starting their journey, on their journey, any one piece of
The
advice.
only advice I can give is start, because you may not need it now and you may not realize it now.
Right.
But when you need it, if you lose those years, then however smart you are, you're not going to get there. Everyone's story comes to the same point that they get short of time after a certain point. And nobody's going to return your time. It's only if you get financially free that time you can take back in
Right.
your hand. The remaining time of your life. Whatever is gone anyway. There's a chart I created between money and happiness. As your money grows in life, your happiness grows to an extent, to the level if you reach financial freedom, beyond which your happiness stagnates. And then it depends on many other factors. So basically, the relationship between money and happiness is almost a direct proportional till the point of financial freedom. You will not realize what happiness is truly unless you achieve that freedom to choose in life. Nobody's saying that you retire and quit your job and do what you choose, what you want to do in life.
Right.
Don't let money choose it for you. That's the key of freedom.
Thank you for watching and supporting our channel. If you like the stories we tell, here's your chance to be a part of it. If you or anybody you know has an interesting financial journey to share, then please fill the form in the pinned comment below and we'll get in touch with you.